Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and we are here with all the rain, as you can see. People are all parked over here too. We're over in the parking lot for the Springfield Antique Show. Pretty excited for the day. We're going to be meeting up with Don, the auction professor. He texted me. He's been here for about 45 minutes now. Hopefully he left a few things for me. It was rainy this morning, going to be raining a lot this morning. So I wasn't in a particular hurry to get here, primarily because water and paper don't mix very well. So kind of, it was the least crowded I've ever seen it coming into the place. Usually there's a long line to come in. There's not today, and I think that the rain scared people away. It's supposed to be really, really nice and warm tomorrow, though. So tomorrow should be a crazy, incredible day. Heading on in as well, I saw a big Whatnot sign, so Whatnot probably is here. So that'll be one of the first booths I try to find as well, because I'll see if I can't get myself a spot live selling tomorrow. So that should be a lot of fun also, but we'll see. So wish me luck. Hopefully the rain has kind of not ruined the paper. To anybody, if you ever set up at an outdoor festival, don't leave the paper out. Do not put it right down on the ground because water seeps up through. I've said it in a million videos, but people still don't listen. Hopefully people were smart about their storage of paper. I know they set up last night, so hopefully they had everything covered. So we'll be having some haul videos. We'll be having some videos with Don, the auction professor, and hopefully the Rogue is completely filled by the end of the weekend. And Mrs. Papergoy just made a look. All righty, we'll see you. We'll see you a little later from inside with some footage. And we're inside with some footage. Just a lot of stuff going on over here today. Fun little day. And there I am, walking toward the camera. And I want to thank Mrs. Papergoy again, as usual, for the great footage throughout. I told her make sure she got that there, the Celtics jersey. But here was a really interesting thing. You absolutely never know what you might find. Everything but the kitchen sink. Literally everything but the kitchen sink, as a matter of fact. Do not know how much that cost. I don't actually even know what you would do with that if you bought it. I guess bake a pie or something. I don't really know. It was a pet peeve the first day. All these people, notice how all these different people have carts and all that sort of thing. The first day it was raining something awful. And everybody went and took their carts and went inside the buildings. It's not set up for that. So it was really difficult to look the first day, and people's tempers were flaring, as I noted with the interview with the auction professor, which you definitely want to check that out as well. It'll be posted separately. Just a lot of interesting things over here. Not a lot of paper for most random dealers. There were about 2 or 3 dealers that had a lot of paper, and that was kind of where I cleaned up at, which you'll see at the end. Where we have the 2 days worth of hotel footage as well, where I show the finds that we had out over here. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff just throughout. Beautiful day on the second day, though. In fact, they had said it was record crowds, as a matter of fact. One of the problems, though, is you can see how green the grass is right over there. It was still kind of swampy in a lot of spots as well. Parking was a little tricky. We got lucky. We got there early the first day, and we were able to find a really good parking spot, so we didn't have any problems. They do have a number of buildings as well. These are kind of, oh, there I am with the auction professor, as a matter of fact, sourcing with him, finding different things. We went through the building together, and he was looking at postcards, and we were talking about various things as well that, you know, we had doubted throughout the years. So that was a lot of fun also. He actually saved me from a purchase that wasn't all that good in here as well. We went together into yet another one of these. These are like during fair time. These are for horses and cows and pigs and all that. In fact, in the front, they'll have titles on them like pig barn or horse barn or whatever on that. So it makes it easy when you want to meet up with somebody as well. As a matter of fact, the second day, that was what the second time we met up, he said, hey, I'm over by the pig barn. And that's where we were able to meet up. So no problem at all. There are some books there and a lot of other stuff as well. And again, the indoor stuff is a little different than the outdoor stuff. Usually what people's theory is, if you go to a sale like this, a show like this, you want to hit the outdoor stuff first, because the indoor people tend to have paid more for their spots. They tend to be more of the professionals. There's less likely that you're going to get a huge score off somebody inside of these. So usually what people do, now of course that all went out the window on the first day because of the rain, but usually we hit the indoor pretty late in the first day when we were, when we're sick of being out in the sun all day and we need a little bit of a break. That's when we go inside. Because again, you're less likely to find the really good deals inside versus outside. And that's usually something other to remember when you are at the sales. Hit the outdoor stuff first, if weather permitting. Because again, those are the dealers that are just set up maybe one time. They're not quite as deep into it as the people that get the inside, who either pay more, or some of the other buildings, they actually have it set up where they they run it every month, because there is a antique show / flea market every month. Well, they're inside every single month for the show. Now, twice a year is the Extravaganza, which is one of the largest antique show flea markets I've ever been to. Just amazing. A little bit of the Katankas there, a little bit there for everybody. If you're out here sourcing and you can't find something, you're in a super tight niche, because everything is out here basically. Just amazing, the stuff that you'll find here. And we went from toys to pots and pans right there. And as we saw earlier, everything but the kitchen sink. So a little bit of everything throughout here. And there I am sourcing a little bit more. So yeah, asking Don some questions about something there, picking his brain. And he was, again, nice enough to share his information with me as well. So help me out a little bit as well. So definitely hats off, which I should have done right there in the video. I should have taken my hat off. Hats off to him for definitely helping out too and being a good friend of the channel as well. Yep, you see you got the giant M&M, which I believe he's mentioned in a few videos that he has things like that as well. Yep, there they are, the M&Ms, and just many more things. And again, this thing goes on. And as I've noted any number of times in the various videos, one of the biggest problems with this thing is it is not a grid. It is set up with like a center, and almost like a wheel, and heading on out. But there is no practical way to be able to go through the entire thing knowing that you went through the entire thing. The numbering on the ground for the stalls is all screwed up. The numbers aren't really... they're in order, but they're not in an intelligent order. You may be standing at one that's 524, and you walk literally right across the one across, and it's 268. So it's really difficult to find somebody. In fact, the first time when I was there meeting up with Don, that was the situation. He told me the number he was at, and it took me forever to be able to find it because it didn't make a lot of sense the way it was set up. Oh, watch out there, Mrs. Papergoy. And we're back at the hotel, and overall, it was not a great day of sourcing by any means whatsoever. Thank goodness we didn't rush down to the place at 7 o'clock. The hotel does have free breakfast, so we stayed for the breakfast because I'm cheap. And then we drove on down. A lot of rain. We got into place a little bit after 8 o'clock in the morning, and everything was still covered up. I have never seen a place an hour after opening with everybody still closed down. Luckily, there were about 3 buildings on the campus, on the area, and that was pretty much where we went to. Unfortunately, everybody else had the same idea in order to stay dry. I don't believe I bought anything whatsoever from anybody outside. But tomorrow is supposed to be a nice sunny day, so tomorrow hopefully will be different. We did meet up with Auction Professor, and we did go out to lunch with him. And there'll be a video coming up where I interview him, so do check that out as well. And I'll also be making an appearance over on his station, the Auction Professor, over on YouTube, so check that out. This is everything I bought. Did not spend a lot today, spent $201. I'm going to show you a few of the highlights of what we got. One of the things that I got were these, which are, they're worth about 10 to 15 bucks a piece. I've had them before. These are Galaxy Science Fiction. They put out a whole bunch of novels. $2 each, 3 for $5. I bought them. These are actually going to be coming to Whatnot soon, because I have a whole bunch of science fiction books that are going to be coming up on Whatnot. So these will be mixed in there as well. These over here, do keep your eyes open for them. I paid up on them, but they're old pulps. Avenger and Doc Savage from 1940s. Always really good. I ended up paying $100 for these 5 pulps and a few other things, some books and other things from the dealer. He knew these were good, charged accordingly. I should double my money on this stuff, but not the greatest of all deals. But then again, I'm going to double my money, so can't argue with that. Little insider tip here, this is what you tune in for. Missing spine paper. Despite that, always look for the tall books. These are always very, very good kids books. So do recall that the tall books are very, very good. If this had its spine paper, you would be talking about a $100 to $150 book. I paid $3 for it, so regardless, it's going to be even in that condition, a $40 book, something other like that. But again, this here is enough reason for you to hit the like button. Tall books are always good. A couple of other items I got over here. You'll see things like this all the time. And Celia was her name. And this is about a natural disaster. Up around us, we find a lot of different ones about various floods and things like that up in the Rochester area. People always buy these things. I don't care what disaster it is. If they push this kind of thing out, I paid $1 for this. I know it's going to be good. These always go for $10 to $15. Any disaster, minimally, will go for $10 to $15 because people in that area will want them. So, not going to make a lot of money on it, but again, it's found money, something that'll go for 10 to 15 bucks. Last couple of items over here. This, actually, I liked. Believe it or not, somebody will end up buying this, Durango, Colorado, the Diamond Bell. It literally is a napkin. This will go for $10 to $15, believe it or not. The reason I really like this, which I did not know at the time, was inside of this. So I paid $1 for this. Get back to the room to start sorting stuff. This fell out. It's like a $10 bill fell out of this book that I paid $1 for. So, gotta love things like that. That is truly found money. These, the guy really underpriced. $1 he wanted on all of them. And these are what you would call ad heralds. 4 of them, not in the greatest of condition, but still, they'll have these things put out. You know, you got Laurel and Hardy. Another one in here had another Laurel and Hardy. You definitely can make your money off of these things over here. I've sold them before, and they usually go for $15 a piece, something or other like that. And the final things I got over here is I bought a bunch of postcards. They wanted $3 each. I tried to buy the entire box, and she said, no, I can't give you a deal on that. I was hoping. I thought they were good cards. And I showed Auction Professor, I bought 17 cards, and he picked these out as being really, really good cards in there. So for $2 a piece, these are what he said in the Main Street one he was really, really impressed by, and he kept talking about that the rest of the day. So I don't know very much at all about postcards, but these are things that you look for in somebody's $2 box, $1 box, $3 box, and I did well with these. Again, I wish I'd been able to buy the whole box, but they didn't want a deal. So, and there's a few other things over here, nothing really worth talking about, but got that stuff up there as well. So overall, not a lot of stuff today. The weather, the thing that I have to look at as well, though, is I'm certain I have competition. I'm certain there are other people out here picking this show for paper. They dealt with the same elements that I did. They had the same rain, the same problems, the same things that I had. The dealers weren't open. So it all starts fresh tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow evening when I'm here, this is all filled up with lots and lots of good stuff. And if not, it still is a great trip. Thank you, Mrs. Papergoy, for being the cinematographer. And thank you, Don, for meeting with me while I was out here as well. And we will see you tomorrow at the show. And we're back at the room now. Yesterday in the monsoon, we spent $201. Today I wrote it down over there, $520 some, something other like that. Much better day of sourcing today than yesterday. Did learn something, and if you're going to come out to Springfield, don't take 5 or 6 trips to figure this out. They do have these free maps available. What I am going to do next time is make a copy of this free map. I'm not going to sell it, so I'm not breaking copyright. And I'm going to grab a pen, and I'm going to mark off where I was along, because you just kind of wander, and then if you take a look over here, it's just an absolutely terrible setup. So you don't know, have I been by there, have I not been by there? So I'm going to actually take a pen and mark what areas we've been down, because you always feel like you missed stuff. What did I get though? I was able to find some stuff. This unfortunately has seen better days. It got wet yesterday in the monsoon. However, it's January 1907 and March 1908, and I don't know what all is in here. I did point out the damage, and the guy let me have this and 3 other items for $4. So I paid about 75 cents a piece. So you cannot go wrong. I'm going to leave this out in the sun, let it dry. It's still going to have some damage on it, but it'll actually be sellable. And for that early of an architectural thing, definitely worthwhile. Next item we picked up. This is not the kind of thing I would usually deal in, but very, very interesting and odd. Vanita Mentho Kerchief. Basically, they're Kleenex, registered trademark, with menthol on them. There are some inside as well, as you can see. I don't know the first thing about these, but it cost a couple of bucks. So for $2, I figured it was well worth it. Why not give it a try? Next item I picked up, but it's kind of avoid paying too much for this kind of thing. And that is Miss America tends not to sell. This is Miss America 1957. She tends not to sell. Water skiing tends not to sell. So you're out there saying, oh, you're pretty smart, Paperboy. You bought 2 things that don't sell. The reason why I bought it is it's from an Atlantic City hotel. And it says here it's not to be removed from the room. Don't tell them. Obtain a copy at a newsstand. I went to the newsstand, they didn't have any of these anymore. Had they, I would have bought all of them. But it's pretty neat over here for the Atlantic City person over there. Paid, I think, $2 or something other like that on that. So I was quite happy with that item. It's funny, yesterday I mentioned the ad heralds. I've never actually seen one like this before, Oxford, Ohio, where it gives every single week's worth. So it's an entire month's worth all together on one sheet over there. Shirley Temple and so on. So these kind of things will sell. Best way to do, take the top star or stars or movie, put it in the main listing, take the time and put all the other movies down below. Charge a few extra dollars for the work, but you'll end up getting bids because people will collect a certain movie or a certain star. So that's what you do with those. These actually don't sell, or these are not worth what they should be. These are from late 1800s, early 1900s paperbacks, but I paid $1 a piece for them. They're usually $5 to $10 books. I'm going to put these in a Whatnot auction. So if you do collect these, you will see them in a Whatnot auction. Always neat to have old paperbacks in an auction. But do not overpay on those. Do not, somebody will have them out for 20 bucks and say, oh, these are really, really good because. No, they're not. Up next, another item here that always sells. NASA stuff sells, but especially Expo 21, 1962. That's the World's Fair in Seattle. Something rather like this will definitely sell. Now they wanted $1 on it, and that's what I ended up paying on it. But something rather like this sells. This will be coming to Whatnot also. If you do sell in Whatnot, World's Fair stuff is always very, very popular over there. This is newer, 1993, I believe, but we did pick it up mainly because it's got all of the different amplifiers in it. Now, a lot of people, I'm sure, walk by just because it's so new. I paid $1. My thinking is, people that are my age would have had one of these in 1993, would have been one of their first amplifiers. They may want this over here just for nostalgia, and to pay $1 for it, you can't go wrong. Unfortunately, no pictures in this, but this was in the guy's $2 bin. It's a Disney, and it talks about the Pinocchio movie. Again, unfortunately, no pictures in this magazine, but it'll still sell. Well, I guess there's a few line illustrations. But it'll still sell basically because of the Walt Disney thing. And again, I paid a couple of bucks for it. Actually, I got it for free as a throw-in on another deal, so can't argue with that. I'm going to say that for last. This was in a guy's $2 bin, believe it or not. 10 minutes advice to the consumptive, which means it's early medical. Might be quack, I didn't really go through it. Not in the greatest of shape. That being said, it's 1833. So you can sometimes find the stuff from the 1800s out there, pay a couple of bucks for it. I'll do that every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. The Waldorf Astoria. I got this basically because it's a very well-known name. This was the Promenade magazine given out to people. It does have a little stamp or dirt there on the cover, but still, the Waldorf Astoria was not cheap back in the day. It's still not cheap. Cannot go wrong with that. Paid a couple of bucks for that. Getting down here near the nitty-gritty, the Oshkosh Bagosh. The Oshkosh Centennial, 1953, from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Goes right into what I always tell you out there. We always show you in Bolo videos. Local areas. Now, granted, I'm not local to Oshkosh, but a lot of other people are. So somebody will end up buying this. because they were there in 1953 or one of their parents is in there or whatever the case happens to be. Paid $2 for it. You should have as well if you were there. You'll see this out there, the story of Jesus. There's a lot of different versions. I believe there's a 25 cent, 35 cent. There's a whole bunch of different versions of this. It's a Classics Illustrated comic book. I paid $1 for it. Always sells for $10 to $15. So if you do see this comic book out there, you should be able to remember that cover. Some versions are worth more than others, etc. Just in the back of your head, always know you can get to 10 to 15 bucks out of it and pay $1 if you can find it, because it is a rather rapid seller. I picked this up for $1. Barbie Sings with 6 terrific tunes, 45 RPM, and it does actually have records in it, and it does have all of the records in it as well. For $1, I was very, very happy. Went online and researched it after I bought it and found out it's about a $30 record set, which I don't usually deal in records, but I'll make an exception for that. Gentleman, I saw him very early. He had a whole bunch of boxing stuff. He said he was going to watch the channel. Hopefully you are. Thank you. And I said, I'll stop by at the end, you know, on my way out to my car. And he had a whole bunch of boxing stuff. The Ring, which actually don't sell as well as they should, but he had some of these. Arena, he had some IDs of boxers, and he had a whole bunch of contracts of boxers. And I said, throw me a stupid price, and I will walk home with everything. He threw me a price, $250. He bundled everything together. I couldn't go wrong. I'm going to end up making money on it once I get everything listed out of it. Very, very happy. He was happy. I was happy. We were all happy. So don't be afraid to do that. And one of the advantages, which is what I told him as well, is I said, look, I wanted you to have the ability to sell the stuff during the day. Because if you sell 5 items out of there or 3 items out of there, I'm not going to notice the difference one way or the other. But he can make some extra money, and then he's more than willing to let it go a little bit cheaper later on because he's already made retail out of the stuff, and then he can wholesale the stuff out to a dealer. Last couple of items over here. Pretty neat looking item. When you have an opportunity to buy cards, this was 50 cents. Always open it up. Happy Halloween. And everybody out there knows Halloween stuff is very, very popular. And this one you don't even have to open up. In fact, this was the one sitting right on top of the box. How nobody ended up buying it, I don't know. Well worth 50 cents on a Hallmark card over there with Halloween. And finally, gentleman had a big box of these Manhattan Night Patrol applications. So from what I can figure out, it was a private security company. From what I can figure out, I just brought it home. I haven't really done any research yet. And these were various contracts they signed with people in the neighborhood to get paid, basically, for them to go around and watch the neighborhood, almost like a neighborhood night watch kind of deal. Thought it was really, really neat. Early New York City, the gentleman wanted $2 a piece. He had a big pile of them. I said, what can you do for all of them? He goes, oh boy. He had 2 each, 3 for $5. He said, well, I used to sell those online, and I just got tired. There's too much stuff to do. I used to get 30 bucks a piece out of them. Okay, well, you're selling them for 2. I didn't say that, but inside voice. He goes, 200. And you go, all right, well, let me think about that. So what I did, and this is a little tip to you when you're out there, because people are terrible at counting items. So what I did is I counted 50 out. This was 50 of them. Then I measured out, and I figured out there were about 160 of them. So I ended up getting about a $50 cut on the price. And actually I got a little bit more because I went and I had to throw a couple of other magazines as well. So let them throw a price out at you. If it's just stupid good, buy it, don't worry about it. If it's one of those you're going, start counting the items, because sometimes you'd be surprised that actually it's cheaper to buy them at regular price than it is than that. And then point it out to them and say, you know, if I paid your regular retail on it, it would have been $202. Can you do a little more? Because sometimes they don't know either. They're just looking at the pile as well. But again, he ended up knocking 50 bucks or thereabouts out. So cannot argue with that. So all in all, after the things that I picked up today, it will end up being a profitable trip out. It was obviously a lot of fun. We met Don. We had some nice meals. Just it was a nice trip out, and we'll end up making some money. So we've got the plan for next time we come on out. If you've never been to the Springfield show, by all means do so. We got some great video up, and we will see you next video.